It was worth it. Ricky Nolasco with strike one. Rafael Furcal in the box, and here we go. Marlins and Cardinals. Nolasco facing the Cardinals for the first time this year. Ricky on the season at 8-7. His last time out, he battled through 12 hits and gave up just 1 run in 6 2/3 and beat the Braves in Atlanta. Furcal drops the hammer on that one. Stanton, a sliding, diving catch. No catch. And a throw behind the runner. The first base umpire out there, Vic Carapazza, said no catch. Stanton is coming in to complain. Here comes Jack McKeon out. And we may have Carapazza asking, at least Jack may ask, that he asked one of the other umpires if he had a better look.
A lot of times, Rich, I go by the reaction of a player, and we know Mike Stanton's a real low-key, quiet guy, and when he comes up and runs in and argues a call, you got to have a pretty good feeling that he caught that ball. Really hard to tell. A great effort on a sinking line drive hit by Rafael Furcal.
Well, it looks like well, from that angle, it's tough to tell.
I think he got the glove to it, though. That was a little tough angle. This is a better angle. This is the angle that Carapazza has.
Oh, it's a clean catch.
Yeah, Carapazza's looking right at it.
How does he miss it?
How can he miss that at that angle? That's the best angle an umpire has. And I don't know if any of the other umpires are going to overrule it because Carapazza had the best angle. I'll tell you what, Vic Carapazza, you go in, you look at the replay, you'll see that he caught it, and you'll know that you blew the call.
You know, you expect to see it be a close trapper or catch, but that's a pretty clean catch.
That's a clean catch.
That's not even close.
Not even close. And again, I go back to the reaction of Mike Stanton. Because of his persona, he can't believe it. He threw the ball back in as quickly as possible, but that's just a bad call.
McKeon is still out there, and Mike Stanton, a terrific catch, terrific effort. Jack can't believe it, but Furcal's at first base, and it's going to go as a base hit. So here's Corey Patterson. Furcal, certainly a threat to run. This is not only a ball club, Tommy, but there are individuals in this order that have tormented Ricky Nolasco in his career.
And you also have to keep your eye on Furcal for stealing bases. 298 career stolen bases.
Patterson's in center field and in the 2 spot for Tony La Russa tonight. And then you get into the heavy lumber of Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman. And for Nolasco, a challenge not only against the Cardinals, but a challenge pitching here in this ballpark. A place where he has not pitched well this year, especially his last start here. He was bombed by San Diego 14-3.
It's amazing, even in his career, Ricky, a much better road record than home record.
Furcal away from first. Not running, a drive to right. Stanton goes back. He's there and he makes the catch. And there's one out. All right, here come the Cardinals. St. Louis winning the first 2 games of this series, 7-4 and 3-2. Warren Henry brings you the lineup. You've seen Furcal and Patterson. Now you get into the guys that not only are trouble, but especially against Nolasco. Pujols, Holiday, Berkman. Even Skip Schumacher has hit Ricky well. Tony Cruz gets a start behind the plate. Daniel Descalso, the rookie, at third. Chris Carpenter, the Cy Young Award winner, hits 9th.
And Rich, here's another thing for Ricky Nolasco. Part of the game, missed calls, bad calls. Now it's his time to pitch around the bad call of Vic Carapazza.
So here is Pujols, and Nolasco delivers inside. Ricky against the Cardinals is 0-3 with an ERA of 7.5 in 5 starts. And of the 6 guys in the Cardinal lineup that have at-bats against Nolasco, Collectively, they're hitting .492. 35 for 71 with 6 homers. Pujols 8 for 15, 2 homers. And he fouls it at the plate. So all of the numbers in this thing favor St. Louis.
And you can look at it that way, or you can look at it and say Ricky is due to get the St. Louis Cardinals out and win his first game against the Cardinals.
And the funny thing about Nolasco, last 7 starts, you throw out the San Diego start, and he's pitched extremely well. Long look in. Furcal hasn't budged from first. And it's fouled off. Of his last 7 starts, you throw out the San Diego start, what have you got? In the 6 remaining starts, Nolasco's given up 5 total runs. That's how well he's pitched, aside from the big blip on the radar against San Diego.
It seems like when Ricky has had a blip this year, it's been a big one.
He's out in front of Pujols. King Albert is 4 for 9 with a home run in this series. All 3 of the big bats had big hits last night in the 3-2 win. Pujols the double, Holiday a homer, Berkman tripled and doubled.
We talked about it last night too, with Pujols hitting into a double play. He leads the National League. He's hit into 25 double plays.
Remember, you got a new second baseman out there working with Emilio Bonifacio, Alfredo Ameziga. Dobbs is at third base tonight. Another throw over.
In his time as a Marlin for 3.5 years, we saw Ameziga play all over the field. He was kind of doing the same thing, he said, at Colorado Springs, playing a little bit of every position.
Ameziga said today that last night in Colorado Springs he made a tremendous defensive play late in the game, and the crowd went wild, and Ameziga was excited, and then his manager called him off the field, and Ameziga thought he had done something wrong, that somebody was upset. And the manager said, no, you've been traded. One, two. Breaking ball, Pujols hammers it left field. Deep, gone. And just like that, it is 2-0 St. Louis.
Well, we told you the numbers. First of all, he's 5 for 10 in this series. But King Albert now 9 for 16 with 3 home runs against Ricky Nolasco and just a floater. Ricky needs to drop off that biting curveball and miss with it off the plate. But he floated it up there, and Albert took care of the rest.
26 now for Pujols. And now here is Holiday. And the call by Vic Carapazza really stings because it adds a run. The ball that Furcal hit clearly caught by Mike Stanton. But Furcal given a base hit, and he scores on the Pujols homer. And here's Holiday, and he has mashed Nolasco. 8 for 14, 2 homers, 6 RBIs.
And really, when you think about it, all 3 hitters have hit the ball hard. Furcal hit that sinking line drive hard. Patterson's line drive to right field was hit on the nose, and so was that home run.
Oh, 2. Nolasco misses away. Ricky Nolasco approaching some milestones in strikeouts and in wins. He is 9 shy of tying Dontrelle Willis for the all-time strikeout lead. Willis at 757. Nolasco starts tonight at 748. Dontrelle Willis is the all-time wins leader in Marlins history at 68, And Nolasco is creeping up. He's at 62. 1-2 pitch. Got him. Well, there's the first strikeout of the night for Nolasco.
Good job. Good fastball that had some nice movement to it. We'll check in on the Marlins defensively. Brought to you by Warren Henry. Logan Morrison, Dwayne Wise with the start tonight in center field. Mike Stanton in right. Dobbs, Bonifacio left side. Alfredo Amezaga at second base. Gabby over at first and John Buck behind the plate.
Here's Lance Berkman now. 4 for 8 in this series. He smashes one in the gap left center field. Morrison racing over to cut it off. Slides. Got a piece of it. Berkman is going to get a double. His second double of the series. He went triple-double yesterday. He's 5 for 9. And this is just game 3 of a 4-game set.
Again, a pitch that has way too much of the plate, especially for guys that have hit well in the series and guys that have hit well against Ricky.
So we told you there are 6 guys in the Cardinals that had faced Nolasco before, and all 6 of them had gaudy numbers. Schumacher's included in that group. He's 4 for 9 in his career. Schumacher, the diminutive infielder, good hitter out of Orange County, California. He's 31. Big breaking ball for a strike. As Tommy pointed out last night, he's been a solid Cardinal, a guy that has hovered around 300 most of his career.
And remember, a guy who a few years ago learned a new position at second base. And there were a lot of question marks surrounding that because we're privy to that up in spring training, watching his development from the outfield to second.
And he is one of those Southern California guys that was one of the first pupils for Mark McGuire. We talked about Brian Peterson joining that group. Well, Schumacher was already in the club before Peterson stumbled upon those guys in the cage in the offseason. 0-2 is Nolasco. And he misses outside. The inning opened with some controversy. The for call liner that Stanton caught, Vic Carapazza, and then the rest of the umpires conferred, and no one overturned the call of no catch.
No, that's because Carapazza had the best angle, and he missed it.
1-2 coming. Sawed him off. Amezaga charges, gloves, bobbles. Schumacher runs well at the corners now, and here comes Tony Cruz. It's going to be a base hit.
Slow roller. Amezaga in the transfer didn't have a good grip. Schumacher up the line pretty well. I think a quick transfer, he gets him, but it's going to be an infield base hit.
Now Cruz, who is the backup catcher in the absence of Yadier Molina. Molina serving a 5-game suspension. This is day 3 of no Molina for the Cardinals. Gerald Laird has done a nice job the first 2 ball games. Cruz gets the start tonight. Nolasco already 20 pitches in to this first inning.
By the way, he made a great pitch to Schumacher. He jammed him with a fastball to get that slow roller out to second.
Cruz, a guy that can play everywhere. He's also appeared in the infield and in the outfield this year. He was a converted infielder. They moved him behind the plate. They like his athleticism. Pulls that ground ball foul. There's Tony La Russa, the skipper of the Cardinals. Cruz is a Palm Beach guy. It's where he was born, in Palm Beach. Grew up in Lantana. all Palm Beach County in high school. Santa Lucis High School. 0-2. Velasco 1-2. Albert Pujols has homered. His second of the series, his 26th of the season. Berkman's at third. Schumacher at first. 1-2. No swing. And he didn't. Pitch number 24 coming.
It's just one of those starts for Ricky Nolasco that he gets through this inning, gets Cruz out. He's got a chance. There's a lot of baseball to be played. We saw the Marlins come back and score 3 runs the first night of this series. 3 runs in the bottom of the first.
Now the 2-2. So it's full now, and that means Schumacher will be on his way at first. You got Descalso, a much better hitter than Cruz, on deck. Cardinals at the corners. 2 runs already on a Pujols home run. 3-2. Breaking ball in the air. Stanton is there. And Mike makes the catch. Inning over. But Albert Pujols, last one in the seats for a 2-0 lead. Here come the Fish, brought to you by Warren Henry. Emilio Bonifacio leads it off. Yes, Alfredo Amezaga's back. He's playing second, hitting second. Mike Stan's had a nice series. Logan Morrison hits cleanup. Gabby in the 5 spot. Greg Dobbs slides down to 6. John Buck moves up to 7th. Dwayne Wise occupies 8th. And Ricky Nolasco hits 9th. And here's Bonifacio. Chris Carpenter misses away. Carpenter's had an odd season. I mean, you look at his ERA, and it just doesn't add up to a 6-8 record.
Have to speak quickly with Carpenter on the mound. He works fast. He got off to a slow start, but he's been a much better pitcher lately.
A strike at the knees to Bonifacio that counts 1-1. Carpenter, a long and storied career.
Give you the Coventry Healthcare of Florida scouting report. Very solid with the delivery. That big power curveball. So far a disappointing year, but he's got plenty of time left. They really put a lot of weight on his shoulders when Adam Wainwright went on the disabled list, because with the 2 of those guys, Wainwright and Carpenter, you had 2 of the best in the league.
Yeah, they've been a dynamite combination. Last year, Carpenter, an all-star, won 16 games. He was second in the Cy Young voting in 2009 when he was 17-4. Chopper over the middle. Around it is Schumacher, and he throws Bonifacio out by a step.
That's just a good play. Any little bobble or any little mishandle, and that's a base hit for Bonifacio.
Nice welcome for Amezaga. slotted behind Bonifacio, two guys who were, had very similar career paths in terms of skill sets. Although Bonifacio this year has kind of separated himself offensively from Amezaga.
We talked about Amezaga in Colorado Springs. He was called up for 20 games with the Rockies earlier this year.
And the numbers you just saw were with the Rockies, the 242 average. He hit 305 with a 385 on base percentage at AAA with the Rockies.
And one of his teammates in AAA, Mike Jacobs.
2-0 to Amezaga. It's a tough spot for Joe Thurston, who came up for just the one game. The Marlins were working on a deal for Amezaga over the last few days, and it finally happened late last night. They finally agreed on a minor league player that went from the Marlins to the Rockies organization. One of the big selling points for Amezaga is he can play everywhere, including center field, which is key.
I think also he's a little better fit in the number 2 spot for the time being with Infante out.
Count full. Carpenter working against Amezaga. Alfredo, ground ball, almost the same spot as Bonifacio, and Schumacher throws him out by a step. Here's the Cardinals defensively.
Check out that defense, brought to you by Warren Henry, with Holiday, Corey Patterson, and Berkman in the outfield. Descalso and Furcal. Schumacher's already made a nice play. Pujols at first. And Tony Cruz down from Lantana. Got some fans here, I'm sure, in attendance tonight.
Mike Stanton was at the plate when the game ended last night. Stanton struck out by Lance Lynn. Carpenter misses away. Mike did have 3 hits last night, drove in a run with a triple. His 5th triple of the season. Carpenter with a good breaking ball. That's always been part of his arsenal.
Yeah, he's got a couple breaking balls, not just the curveball. Just a tremendous competitor, great work ethic. There's the slider.
It's his 8th year with the Cardinals, and amazingly, the Blue Jays let him walk. He had labrum surgery when he was with the Jays. It was a first-round pick all the way back in 1993. He's 36. Stanton swings, misses, and is tagged out. So the Marlins go down in order against Carpenter. Velasco's back on the hill in the second. But Albert Pujols' home run, the difference in this ball game early on. All your cooling brings you the weather. Rain is possible. 78 degrees. Always good to have the pollen count on there.
For those of us who suffer from allergies.
So there are, I guess, weather saber mathematicians that, much like baseball, that like those deep stats. That's a trouble blooper that's going to land fair. And Descalso around first is into second with a double. Daniel Descalso, the rookie out of UC Davis, with a leadoff double here in the second.
Well, it's one thing giving up line drives and well hit balls, and then you make a pretty good pitch. You get in on Descalso, and he bloops it just in no man's land down that left field line. He thought it was going foul. He's just kind of cruising 3/4 of the way up the line, then all of a sudden sees that the ball's fair. I don't think he learned that at UC Davis, did he?
No. Carpenter squaring to bunt. Cardinals try to push him to third. Carpenter takes a strike. You've got Gabby charging at first. Dobbs was holding his ground at third, so Carpenter's going to try to force either Ricky Nolasco to get it or force Dobbs' hand with Descalso out at second base. Five hits already for the Cardinals.
It's interesting. Remember, in Ricky's last start, he did win 3-1 in Atlanta. He gave up 12 hits in 6 2/3 innings, but he was able to manage that and didn't walk anybody and only gave up the 1 run.
In that game, the Marlins gave up a total of 13 hits. It was the first time in club history that they'd given up 13 hits and just 1 run or less. Fouled at the plate, and the count's 1-2. Well, Ricky's job is to pull it together and try to give his ball club a chance to come back against Chris Carpenter. Not the easiest of tasks.
Quick conversation. Third base coach Jose Oquendo, terrific baseball mind, coaching at third, ran in to have a conversation with Carpenter.
Should be managing in the big leagues somewhere.
Yeah. And I think someday we'll get that opportunity.
Velasco spins. There's Oquendo. He could do a little bit of everything when he was a player.
He was a La Russa type player.
Yes. Carpenter pulled back and takes down low, and it's 2-2.
He's a decent enough of a hitter that he doesn't necessarily give you bunt all the way, so you're not quite sure if you're at third or at first.
Carpenter not real pleased. So there's 1 out that goes as a strikeout. Velasco now with 2 strikeouts on the night, and he's 3 shy of second on the all-time list, occupied by A.J. Burnett. Coming up, the Braves are here Monday through Wednesday. It's a Subway Monday, a Miami Herald 2 for Tuesday, and then a Wednesday night matchup. 1-877 Marlins. Go to marlins.com. Braves tonight are delayed in New York.
But the question is it raining?
Ground ball, Gabby over to get it. Rafael Furcal is out. Descalso now at third. He's 90 feet away. There are 2 outs, and here comes Patterson. Yeah, there have been some odd delays, and the Marlins have been involved in a couple of them in New York this year. In fact, with the Marlins rained out the other night, the Mets were asking the Marlins to actually come back for a 5th time on another off day in September.
Which would have been a travel day on the way to Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it violates the 20-day in a row rule, where you can't make up a game and push 20 games in a row unless you get approval from the Players Association. And I think a lot of people were surprised that the Mets would ask the Marlins to come back for a 5th time just for that one night on an off day, because they'd already come back on an off day for a single game. And the Marlins are going to New York for a 4-game series at the end of August. And it sounds like it will be a doubleheader one of those 4 days. Patterson, another liner to right. And Stanton catches that one, too, just like in the first inning. And Velasco pitches around the leadoff double. A little humidity out there tonight. And Logan Morrison stands in the box. Gabby Sanchez, Greg Dobbs will follow. In the bottom of the second, the Marlins in a 2-0 hole against a tough customer in Chris Carpenter. One and 0 to Morrison. He's 2 for 7 with a couple of RBIs in this series. Walked a couple of times last night. Morrison, one of the more active Marlins in the community in terms of raising funds for charitable efforts, and the big bowling event at Lucky Strike, Miami, the Dolphin Mall. You can Get information by going to marlins.com/baseball. One foul back. Strike Miami is the name of the establishment. And that will be next Thursday. The Marlins will be in full support. Be a lot of players and celebrities there for a great event. And Logan Morrison organizing the whole thing. One, two, he lines it into left center field. That's a base hit. Holiday picks it up. Lomo, who caused quite a stir the other day when he gave away, it was close to 500 tickets.
Yeah, about 500.
And the story behind that, there was an autograph signing today, and oftentimes teams will give players a nominal fee to appear to sign autographs. And Lomo said, well, instead of a fee, just give me some tickets and I can give them away to some fans. And the club said, all right. So Lomo turned around and tweeted, whoever wants them gets them. He had a whole section of fans. Gabby Sanchez takes a strike.
Yeah, you'll see Carpenter as he works. Sometimes that cutter, sometimes a slider, they're very similar. He ran a few cutters in on the hands of Lomo before he got that base hit. And then that big curveball.
Well, you think about it, the Blue Jays developing not only Chris Carpenter, but also Roy Halladay, drafting both as high schoolers. Halladay out of Colorado, Carpenter out of New Hampshire.
You talked about the surgery that he had between 2007 and 2008. He only started 4 games at the major league level.
He had Tommy John surgery at that point. The Blue Jays weren't quite sure that he was going to recover from the labrum surgery he had in 2002.
So the Cardinals kind of took a gamble.
They did. He didn't sign for much money when he signed with them in 2004. But it paid off when he won the Cy Young in 2005. Gabby takes high. Carpenter, not sure if he was angry at Jeff Nelson or himself, but he was certainly muttering after that pitch. It was obviously with himself. That one was up. Two. Now it's 3-2. You've got Dobbs on deck. Carpenter has an option on his contract next year. The Cardinals can pick it up for $15 million.
Let's see, by the way, how Jack plays this with nobody out. A 3-2 pitch coming to Gabby.
Morrison away from first, not running. Gabby drives it to left center field. Holiday doesn't see it. Patterson races over and makes the catch in shallow left field. Wow, that's a heads-up play by Corey Patterson.
Yeah, it sure is. He saw it. There was no chance for Matt Holliday. He was way back in deep left field with his hands up. I don't see this ball. Fortunately for the Cardinals, their center fielder alertly picked it up and saw it. This is Holliday has no idea. He looks to Patterson, and then Patterson's right there to make the play.
Morrison saw that as well, and Lomo was ready to go had it fallen in.
Lomo knows the feeling out there in left field.
Yeah. Dobbs now with Hanley Ramirez on the shelf. Dobbs getting a lot of time now with Bonifacio having to man shortstop. Hanley played catch today, and in talking with Jack McKeon, Jack said he was hopeful that Hanley would be ready by today, but so far he is not, and it does not sound like he's available to pinch hit. Oh, 0-1 is grooved right in there.
You mentioned the option that the Cardinals have on Carpenter. I would say with the injury to Wainwright, with him having undergone Tommy John surgery, there's a good chance they'll pick that up because they need him.
Last time I saw Adam Wainwright was in St. Louis in late June, and he was talking about trying to get back for October. But that would really be pushing it. Dobbs swings and misses. And down he goes. I told Wainwright that Josh Johnson got back in about 10 months. And Wainwright said, well, 10 months doesn't do me any good. But I suspect you'll see him back and better than ever next year.
Next year. I would be totally surprised if he's pitching this year.
John Buck has had a very good series. He walked 3 times in game 1. Also had a base hit in that game. Had 2 hits last night. He cuts and misses. And it's 0-1. Buck has 6 at-bats against Carpenter. 2 for 6 with an RBI. Big lollipop curveball for a strike.
Yeah, you can see the difference. The curveball is usually 75, 76 miles an hour. You see 86 up there. That could be cutter or slider. And then his fastball is low 90s.
The guy that has the most experience against Carpenter in the Marlins dugout is Mike Cameron. 8 for 28 with a couple of homers. But, of course, Cameron not in the lineup. Sore wrist. Jack McKeon said, sore wrist, needs a day, maybe 2, but shouldn't keep him out of the lineup. Or if he had to use him as a pinch hitter, he probably could tonight.
I'm going to say Monday night against the Braves, we'll see Mike Cameron and Hanley Ramirez.
1-2 to Buck. Goes down and gets a breaking ball, flips it into right field. It's going to land in front of Berkman, and it checks up. Morrison to third. And John Buck has a base hit, and that'll bring Dwayne Wise to the plate. Well, John Buck now has 4 hits in this series.
Good pitch, too, by Chris Carpenter. Down, away. Buck just gets it on the end of the bat. Kind of dropped it out there the way Descalso dropped his double out to the opposite field and left.
Now Wise getting the start. I think a lot of people expected to see Brian Peterson in the lineup. And I asked Jack McKeon why he went with Dwayne Wise. And McKeon said, you know, he thought about it. And he said, who's a better pinch hitter, Wise or Peterson? And right now it's Peterson. And he said, if I need to pinch hit in the 5th or the 6th inning, I can bring Peterson in. I have a better pinch hitter, and then he can play the rest of the game. And so Wise probably a little better defensively to start the game, and then Peterson a little more pop with the bat to finish the game. So that's kind of Jack's thinking going into tonight. 0-1 to Wise. Pulls that one foul. 0-2.
But you get the feeling sometime tonight we'll see Brian Peterson in some role.
That's one of the tough things in the absence of Hanley Ramirez with Dobbs in the lineup is you lose him as a pinch hitting weapon late in the game. Ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, and with the retirement, I was reading this the other day, with the retirement now of Matt Stairs, Greg Dobbs is the active pinch hit leader in RBIs.
And the Marlins have the 2 active pinch hit leaders now in Wes Helms and Greg Dobbs. They were behind Stairs. Wise just gets a piece of that breaking ball. John Buck across the diamond. Carpenter actually has thrown more pitches than Ricky Nolasco, believe it or not. And he has the 2-0 lead. Wise fights off another one.
Yeah, Marlins have had some good at-bats. They've made him work. Fouled off a number of pitches. It's a hot, muggy night.
He lasted just 5 innings his last start in Milwaukee and gave up 5 runs.
Even in his outing against the Marlins earlier this year in May, in his 6 innings, he got a no decision. In his 6 innings, the Marlins touched him for 10 hits and 6 runs.
And you can just see the water rolling out of his hat right now on the mound. 1-2. Got him. Fastball. Wise strikes out. Carpenter leaves a pair. And we go to the third with the Cardinals on top, 2-0. And the Marlins and Cardinals enter the third inning. Ricky Nolasco, our Toyota trend, since May 6th, 1-8 in games started by Ricky Nolasco. That can't be right. I mean, Nolasco won his last 2 starts. So, crack staff. You're going to have to go back and fix that.
Every once in a while, there's a little slip up. I do know one thing, and you talked about it earlier, Rich, his last 8 starts, how he's been in games, all but that one against San Diego. But in his last 8 starts, 5 times he's gone 7 or more innings.
Albert Pujols, Matt Holliday, and Lance Berkman.
I think you just threw a really good Ricky Nolasco curveball at the crack staff.
I know. Well, it seems to me it would be at home where the Marlins have won just one of his last whatever starts, because he's not pitched well in this ballpark. That would be my theory. Here's the 1-2. Much like Vic Carapazza, every now and then the crack staff misses a call.
His reward, though, he gets to be behind the plate tomorrow for the day game.
2-2 to Pujols. Ricky's not about to hang another breaking ball. That's the ball that Pujols hit out to left field for a 2-run shot in the first. And of course, it was for Call's liner that Stanton caught on a sliding catch that Carapazza said was no catch. That put for Call on base and made it a 2-run homer instead of a solo shot. 3-2 coming. Fastball, ground ball. Bonifacio gobbles it up and throws him out. All right, just forget about the last Toyota trend. There you go. Home games started by Ricky Nolasco. Our Toyota trend. Trying to reverse that trend. We apologize to all the Nolasco family watching in Southern California. You should be proud of Ricky. He is about to put himself at the very top of some great company. He has struck out 2 tonight. And so he's at 750 career strikeouts. That's 7 shy of the all-time record held by Dontrelle Willis. 3 shy of A.J. Burnett, who is second on the list. And, of course, Ricky is closing in on Willis's 68 wins. Nolasco has 62 in his career. Here's the big difference between Nolasco and Willis, though. Willis, 68 wins in 162 starts. Nolasco, 62 wins in 138 starts.
He's come a long way since being drafted by the Cubs in the 4th round back in 2001, and then being traded to the Marlins. And you think about that, when he was in the minor leagues with the Cubs, his last year in the minor leagues was Double-A. He was 14-3 in Double-A, and all of a sudden he finds himself in the big leagues with the Marlins, winning 11 games in 2006.
41-17 in the minor leagues with the Cubs, and part of that 3-player Juan Pierre trade. He's 2-1 on Holiday. He struck him out in the first. Good pitch, sharp bite. 2-2.
This inning could be a real confidence builder for Ricky. He's already gotten Pujols. If he's able to get Holiday and then Berkman, I think he can really build off this inning.
Breaking ball, and Holiday reaches out and gets it. Morrison over to pick it up. Holiday around first, on his way to second. Safe. Boy, that was close. Logan Morrison made a great throw from the corner, and I think that surprised Matt Holiday.
He goes down and hits a pretty good pitch, and you're right about this play of Logan Morrison. There was a little stutter step from Holiday just as he got close to the bag. He got there. It was a great throw by Morrison, but Holiday's foot's on the bag.
26th double for Holiday. Third hit of the series. Now Berkman. Boy, has he been a handful. 5 for 9, a pair of doubles, a triple. He's driven in a run. Against Nolasco, he is 6 for 13 in his career. And he certainly has to be in the discussion of National League Most Valuable Player. Because in Pujols' absence, Berkman slid to first, kept on hitting.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about that the other night in New York surrounding Jose Reyes, but certainly the Cardinals with a better record and a chance to get to postseason. You have to throw Ryan Braun in that conversation. You have to throw Joey Votto in there, but the Cincinnati Reds have taken a dive lately.
Changeup misses outside. Holiday missed some time as well. Berkman kept on hitting, kept on producing.
Brian Howard will get some votes. Matt Kemp of the Dodgers will get some votes, even though the Dodgers are well out of things. I think it's an interesting year for an MVP because there really isn't a clear-cut winner.
Ricky on the black on the outside. And it's 3-1. There's Holiday. You got Schumacher on deck. And he misses away. So he worked carefully to Berkman with first base open. Now here's Schumacher. This series ends tomorrow on a family Sunday with the Marlins and the Cardinals going at it. You can take a photo with a Marlins player at the strike zone before the game, and kids can run the bases after the game in the Diamond Dash, 1-877 Marlins, or go to marlins.com. Schumacher hit the little dribbler that Amezaga couldn't get out of his glove cleanly. That went for a base hit. Ricky out in front, 0-1. The Milwaukee Brewers have a 5-4 lead over Houston. Carlos Lee is homered in that ball game. Prince Fielder's homer in that ball game. It's in the fourth now. 5-4 Milwaukee leading the Astros. Liner caught by Bonifacio, and Holiday had started to third. That's a much-needed double play. Thought for a minute Bonifacio was either too short or maybe had jumped a little too soon. Just right. Miami tonight. Ricky Nolasco got himself a checkers double play with some help from Emilio Bonifacio.
Boy, for a minute it looked like this ball was headed toward left center. It's our checkers double play of the game. Well timed by Bonifacio. And then it turns into an easy double play as he steps on second base.
Nolasco leads the inning off, and Carpenter misses up. Nolasco, then Bonifacio and Amezaga. If you've just joined us, yes, Alfredo Amezaga is back. A deal had been in the works over the last couple of days with the injury to Hanley Ramirez to try to pry Amezaga away from the Rockies, and it was finally hammered out last night. 2 quick strikes, and it's 1-2. Amezaga having a very good year in AAA with the Rockies. He'd been up with the big club for a spell. Pitch is outside. Carpenter 3 strikeouts, including a big one of Dwayne Wise with runners at the corners to finish the second. 2-2. Velasco, a ground ball in the hole for Call. A great arm, and he shows it off. Pujols with a catch and a tag. And we check in with Frank Fort.
Thanks, Rich. We've been talking a lot tonight about the return of Alfredo Amezaga, but it's been a long road back to the Marlins. His 3.5-year career with the Fish ended in 2009 with a left knee injury that required microfracture surgery. He was a free agent after that season, signed on with the Dodgers, wasn't ready to start the year. He was on a rehab assignment at Double-A Chattanooga, and in his first game there, he felt something in his right knee. The doctors told him it wasn't as bad as the left, but they still had to do the same procedure, microfracture surgery. So he played only 1 game on a rehab in the minor leagues in 2010. Signed on with Colorado in 2011, finally healthy again. And as you mentioned, the trade worked out. But he told me today, after that injury with the Marlins, which essentially ended his time here, he had trouble sleeping for a week or 2 afterwards. He was very concerned that his baseball career might be over. But we're all happy to see him back playing again and back with the Marlins. Rich and Tommy?
Bonifacio takes a strike. Frank, that's an amazing story. When we here in the National League East know how long and hard Carlos Beltran had to work to get back from 1 microfracture surgery on his knee, I can't imagine having it done on each knee over the course of 2 seasons.
It's a surgery we're hearing a little bit more of over the last few years, and very, very extensive.
Bonifacio with a count 1-2. Emilio is just 1 for 11 in this series with 4 strikeouts. He was 0 for 5 last night. He doubled in his first appearance on Thursday night against Kyle Loesch, and since then he's gone 0 for 11. And that's kind of slowed the Marlins offense down considerably, because he's the engine that has made it run for the last month. Another ground ball out. Schumacher plays it nicely. So there are 2 outs. Our Tickets of America poll question: who's going to win the Central? Brewers or the Pirates are spiraling back down the ladder, aren't they? The Cardinals trailing Milwaukee coming into play tonight.
Pirates have lost 8 in a row, and they're down 5-0 in the 4th inning to the Padres right now.
Cardinals 3 back, Pittsburgh 8 back, and as you mentioned, Cincinnati has taken a nosedive. The Reds are 8.5 back.
Well, they got off to a good start. The Reds right now 4 games under 500.
Want to know to Amezaga. He bounced to Schumacher at second. It's a little looper out into center field. That's a base hit. So Amezaga with a base hit. Now Alfredo is aboard. That's going to bring Mike Stanton to the plate.
I have some Amezaga fans here already. Just enough contact to get it over the header for Call. Well placed.
Well, the important thing is it gives Stanton an at bat with a runner on base. Mike struck out back in the first. Carpenter starts him with a fastball. 0-1. We've seen Mike over the last 3-4 ball games, Tommy, go back to the darker bat, the heavier bat. about 33.5 ounces, as opposed to the lighter bat, which is about 31.5 ounces. He's strong enough to swing about a 37 or a 38
he can
ounce.
about a 38 ounce bag. Yeah.
1-1.
I remember the guys that had the huge bats back in the 70s with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Sankian, Rennie Stennett, Willie Stargell, Dave Parker. They did not use small bats.
Mezga back with a dive. Mike fouls that in and out of the glove of Tony Cruz.
Well, I heard a great interview with Albert Pujols, and he was glowingly talking about Mike Stanton and the career that he can see a guy like Stanton having. He just said to Mike, "Don't hit the ball down my way, though, the way you did last night."
Struck him out for the second time tonight. Chris Carpenter wins the battle against Mike Stanton. Marlins leave another runner and trail it 2-0. Tony Cruz says, hold on, I got a hit before trivia. Descalso and Carpenter coming up. Popped it up. Gabby over towards the wall, and that one's going to be out of play. Cruz fly ball ended the first. That's where the Cardinals got their runs. The disputed single by Furcal and the 2-run homer by Pujols. Velasco gets a strike, and it's 0-2. He does have the bottom third of the order with Cruz and then the third baseman Descalso, and then you got the pitcher Velasco looking for a quick inning.
Yeah, he has a chance to do that here because of the part of the order he's in.
Did not go, according to Vic Carapazza. Won't be getting any Christmas cards from the Marlins. He's the guy that ejected Emilio Bonifacio on the 4th of July after that play at first base against the Phillies. Remember, Bonifacio turned and he was tossing his helmet to the dugout? And Carapazza, who didn't see Bonifacio do that,
wasn't watching him,
wasn't watching him, still threw him out. Fly ball right field. Stan has to turn and go deep, and he gets there and makes the catch.
That's a nice play. And maybe a play we wouldn't have seen last year from Mike Stanton. He picked up the ball right away, got a good jump, and went right to the spot where the ball was going to come down.
Only Cardinal pitcher to hit a grand slam against the Marlins.
I'm guessing it's not Chris Carpenter. And we can't say Bob Gibson because you go back too far, but he could hit.
Daniel Descalso has a double tonight. He pulls one foul. Was he considered a good hitting pitcher? Let's ask the crack staff that. Or was it just a act of God where they took a big...
How about a Danny Cox, big right-hander?
Ground ball gets under the glove of Dobbs, and Descalso has a couple of hits tonight. Danny Cox. I think Joaquin Andujar's time with the Cardinals came pre-Marlin.
I don't think Joe McGrain swung the bat that well. How about a John Tudor?
a great mini-series. Carpenter lines one into center field. A base hit. Wise picks it off the turf.
Well, we told you last time up when he was up there trying to bunt, he eventually struck out bunting, that he handles the bat pretty well. And he showed it there in a situation where LaRusse is rolling dice. He's saying, okay, they're thinking he's going to bunt. He'll get that first pitch fastball, and we'll see what he can do. Either that or he just didn't get the sign.
Sometimes it works out. Now for Call, who is a very tough guy to double up, with one out. Then you've got Patterson behind him. The Cardinals have at least a hit in every inning. They have an extra base hit in the first 3 innings. They don't have one here yet in the 4th, but they do have 2 singles. And the Marlins bullpen is up. Burke Badenhop looks like he's starting to throw. Is that Cishek or Badenhop?
Looks like Cishek.
From up here, tough to tell. Ground ball, Meziga to his left, has it on his knees, gets it out there. Nice play by Meziga to get the force at second. And here comes Patterson. So for Call is aboard.
It's a super play. Watch this ball come up a little bit right as he dives, and he comes up with his glove to pick it. No chance for 2. Watch this ball right here. Comes up. He has to bring his hand up a little bit to make that pick. And then gets the out at second base.
It is Cishek.
And in the meantime, I thought of another really good hitting Cardinal pitcher, Bob Forsch.
Twice Patterson's hit it hard, and both times he's hit it at Mike Stanton in right field. And Velasco misses outside. Chopper, Meziga gets the out at second. And Velasco pitches around 2 base hits here in the 4th. 2-0. Tough to keep your concentration in Fox mode. Logan Morrison, Gabby Sanchez, Greg Dobbs. Carpenter drops in a breaking ball for a strike. Morrison singled back in the 2nd. The Marlins have just 3 hits, all singles against Carpenter, who has struck out 4, hasn't walked anybody. So he's been sharp.
He has pretty much done what you expect. Drop in that curveball, cutters, fastballs, sliders. And we told you he's been a much better pitcher in July. 3-0 with a 2.68 ERA in July. But overall, a good ERA at 3.85. And the 6-8 record. He goes upstairs with the fastball to strike out Lomo.
5 strikeouts for Carpenter. Are you going Bob Forsch?
I'm going to go Bob Forsch, yeah.
Jaime Garcia. Kent Merker.
Kent Merker. Hey, up the little lefty, Jesus Sanchez. Kent Merker had, this is why I went with Bob Forsch.
All right.
Kent Merker had 28 career hits and 1 career home run. That was his only home run, the grand slam. Bob Forsch, who was a terrific pitcher, won 168 games, had 12 career home runs, and was a career 200 hitter.
Jaime Garcia has 1 home run in his career. He homered this year.
Bob Forsch, by the way, a nice career with the Cardinals. Brother Ken Forsch, hard-throwing right-hander, many years with Houston.
Boy, Carpenter looks vintage 2005. the year he won the Cy Young. We told you his last 2 seasons have been really strong. Second to Tim Lincecum in 09 in the voting, when he was 17-4 with a 2.24 ERA. Last year, 16-9 was his 3rd All-Star season.
By the way, on our trivia question, we missed out on a really good guess. It wouldn't have been correct. Rick Ankiel, who, by the way, has been on fire. The other night he was 3 for 5. 3 home runs his last 9 games, hitting about 400.
Nationals winners in Colorado last night. Gabby just got enough of that breaking ball to fight it off.
And guess who else stayed hot for the Nationals? Had a home run in that game, 3 hits. Mike Morse. He's up to 320.
Yeah. His at-bats have become must-see TV. One and 2 to Gabby Sanchez.
Gabby trying to get that stroke back that we saw the first couple of months since his 3 days off because of the hamstring pull.
One and 2. Well, the Marlins don't have any runs, but they have pushed Carpenter's pitch count up to 66.
Mainly by doing what Gabby's done in this at bat. It might not turn into a base hit, but he's fouled off a lot of pitches, and a lot of the Marlins hitters have done that tonight.
Check swing at a breaking ball. No swing. 2 and 2.
20 of Carpenter's 23 starts. He's gone 6 or more innings. So he's a horse. He's been out there. Now, I think that's a check swing, but a lot of times, maybe more times than not, you see that called as a swing.
This down low.
Hey, good battle.
It's been a 10-pitch at bat so far for Gabby. And he walks. Chris Carpenter grudgingly gives up his first walk of the night.
That's what's amazing. You look at the pitch count, he's 1 away from 70, so you would expect here in the 4th inning that he's had a night where he's walked a lot of guys. But that's the first walk.
Dobbs struck out in the 2nd. So 5 strikeouts for Carpenter, now a walk. And there's ball 1. Dobbs flips it foul. We were talking about the Nationals and the Rockies. Just a scary moment early in that game last night. Juan Casio, pitcher for the Rockies, was hit in the head, the right side of the head, on a line drive off the bat of Ian Desmond, and actually damaged his C1 vertebrae And he had surgery today to repair that vertebrae. It is essentially a broken neck, though he does not have paralysis. He can sit up and has movement. And he underwent surgery today. And a tip of the cap to the medical staff in Denver, the Rockies and the Nationals trainers who went out, stabilized him, didn't move the neck, got him on the stretcher and the backboard, and got him to the hospital. He is in the hospital now in Denver. Dobbs takes up. 3-1 now.
Just to illustrate our point about the way the Marlins have tried to wear down Chris Carpenter, the first 14 Marlin hitters, 10 of those hitters saw 5 or more pitches. So they have made him work on this warm, humid night.
See what he gets. 3-1. Fastball lines it into center field, base hit. Gabby turns second, on his way to third, and he'll get there. So the Marlins have put some good at-bats together against Carpenter here in the fourth. Dobbs is aboard. And now John Buck to the plate. They're at the corners.
Rich, as our good buddy Lou Piniella would say, that is a professional at bat and swing. 3-1. He got a good fastball. He had a good swing on the fastball. Gabby picks it up and runs the base as well. Knows that he's going to go to third, sets up a first and third situation.
Lou might add very representative. Dave Duncan out there. You know, those two, Duncan and Carpenter, I told you that the Blue Jays drafted and developed Carpenter. That's true to a point. As a Blue Jay, Carpenter was 49-50. Since he arrived in St. Louis with a little help from Dave Duncan, 90-41. So it's not just reclamation projects that Duncan has had success with. A guy like Carpenter, he's had a big influence on.
Well, and that's what makes you think about young pitchers. I mean, he was 10-12 with a 6.26 ERA 1 year with Toronto. Came back the next year, was 11-11.
So Buck with a big at bat. Carpenter looking for a ground ball. Buck looking for a pitch to drive. John's had a good series. 4 for 5 with 3 walks. 1-0. He's trying to get Buck to swing at a cutter down low.
Trying to get him to roll over on that pitch and hit a ground ball to short. And Buck has been patient with him.
Gabby walked. Dobbs sent him to third with a single. Wise is on deck. Let's see if Carpenter elevates one. Nope. He stays down there. Carpenter looks in disbelief. It was down.
All 3 pitches, Carpenter stayed in the same spot, and they've all missed. I think you give John the green light here. But he's got to get a good pitch. He's got to get a pitch out over the plate. Something he can drive in the air. He doesn't want to hit a ground ball.
Got a fastball. And it's 3-1. Albert Pujols with a 2-run homer in the first. All the scoring on the night. Buck in a big spot here. 3-1. It's a strike. Dobbs is safe. Buck has had 2 fastballs. He's having a conversation with Jeff Nelson. And now Nelson having a discussion with the Marlins dugout.
That was too close for comfort over at first base, too.
That pitch was a strike. It was clearly in the strike zone. Let's see what Buck gets. 3-2. He missed. Buck walks. So Carpenter, who is now 80 pitches into this game and has a 2-0 lead, has him loaded, and here is Dwayne Wise, and this is an enormous at-bat because Wise, with the pitcher spot on deck, there's only one out.
And Wise struck out back in the second inning. Important, essential that he makes contact here. He's a tough guy to double up. He's got to try to put the ball in play and get some runs in.
Wise back-footed that ball. It's 0-1.
Just beat it, dude. Just beat it.
Carpenter doesn't like the first two sequences from Cruz. Boy, he swings at a pitch in the dirt, and it's 0-2.
Now Carpenter can really expand the strike zone ahead 0-2. So far, the first two games of the series, this being the third, this is the situation that's given the Marlins trouble. Left on base, not coming up with that big hit.
It hit him, and a run will score.
And then you look for a little break every now and then.
That's a big break on 0-2 against Carpenter. He had made Wise look silly in his first at bat and was 0-2 on him, and he hits his back foot.
He did expand that zone, dropped in that big 12-6 curveball and hit him in the back foot. So a well-earned RBI.
Now Nolasco, who hit a bouncer in the hole to short. Wise is at first now. Buck's at second, with Dobbs at third. Slow tapper. Pujols comes home. Out there. Cruz's throw. Out there. And the Cardinals get a rare 3-2-4 double play. 2-1 St. Louis. Marlins have 4. Time for the Keep Your Edge Spotlight, brought to you by Just for Men Mustache and Beard. And again, Albert Pujols goes deep. Second homer of the series, a 2-run shot in the first. And the Cardinals were off to a quick start on a night very similar to Ricky Nolasco's last start, where he's given up a lot of hits. He gave up 12 hits in his last start in 6 2/3, but gave up just 1 run. He's given up 8 hits already, but in his 4 innings worked has given up just the 2 runs, and it would have been just 1 run had Vic Carapazza not blown the call in right field on the sliding catch by Mike Stanton.
Yeah, it would have been a solo shot. Another challenging inning, too, for Ricky with Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman.
Boy, no kidding. And we set the stage from the outset that this trio especially, not only in this series, but individually against Nolasco, have had a field day in their career, and they've responded. Pujols a 2-run homer, Holiday a double, Berkman a double and a walk.
It's like some of the numbers the Phillies have against a couple of the Marlins pitchers.
Yeah. In particular, the heart of the Phillies order against Chris Volstad. Here's the 2-1. Despite that, Tommy, it's still a 2-1 ball game. Nolasco's pitch count lower than Carpenter's pitch.
That's what's amazing.
Carpenter's at 84. This is number 69 for Nolasco. And Pujols bangs it foul. See how deep Jose Oquendo is with Pujols up there? I mean, he's no dummy.
Yeah, he's been there, done that before with Pujols hitting.
He's as far back as he can get. What's got to be really uncomfortable is when there's a runner at second. Because with a runner at second, the third base coach has to be in a position to wave a guy or hold a guy.
Look how far he is away from the coach's box. Hey, speaking of the Phillies, the Giants are getting a dose of Philadelphia pitching.
Yeah, that was some ball game last night.
They got Vance Worley last night.
That's why Oquendo is so deep.
The night before, they were shut out by Cliff Lee. And Cole Hamels and the Phillies beat the Giants 2-1 today. Hamels with a complete game.
Of course, last night the bench is emptied when Shane Victorino was hit in the back after Jimmy Rollins in the 6th inning with the Phillies up 6 stole third. And that brought both teams onto the field. Here's the 3-2. Ground ball, Dobbs to his left. Has it, spins, and makes a nice play. So Ricky gets Pujols for the first out of the 5th. What'd you think of that whole Phillies-Giants last night?
I had some thoughts, and I made sure I talked to Jack about that. I talked to Tony La Russa about that. What's the rule of thumb? Because people ask us all the time. And there really is no definitive answer because you don't know what all went into it, what the past history was. But the one thing Tony said, in that ballpark, up 6, the Phillies pitching should hold the San Francisco Giants. So he probably would not like to see the Phillies run. Now, he said, on the other hand, if it's in Philadelphia, it's a different story in that ballpark.
Here's Holiday, and he takes inside. Obviously, emotions still
So I think you can go either way with it.
Still simmering from last year. Wasn't it last year that, I think it was in the postseason, that Jonathan Sanchez hit Chase Utley 3 times?
Mm-hmm.
Holiday with a 1-0 coming. He fouls it back to the screen. But that's a series and certainly statements made by the Phillies right out of the chute in that series against the Giants. And the Giants are struggling for some offense right now. Arizona a half game back when play started today. And they're trailing the Dodgers 1-0 in the bottom of the 2nd. They're essentially tied right now.
Yeah.
They can, with a win, Arizona can take over first place. If they lose, they fall a half game back.
I mentioned Hamels with the complete game, gave up 1 run, and that was in the 9th inning. Matt Cain went 8 innings and gave up just 3 hits, 2 runs, and 1 of those was unearned.
Gabby is there, and he makes the catch. So there are 2 outs. The NFL is back, and Fox's coverage begins with a preseason special. Buccaneers head to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Coverage begins on Friday, August 12th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, in high definition only on Fox. Velasco has not retired Lance Berkman. He doubled in the 1st. Ricky pitched carefully to him and walked him in the 3rd, and it paid off when Schumacher lined into a double play to end the inning. The Braves today placed Jair Jurgens on the disabled list with a strained knee.
You know, we're looking ahead at that series against the Braves. The Marlins will see Derek Lowe, Brandon Beachy, and Tim Hudson.
Dan Uggla going into play tonight with a 26-game hit streak. You brought up a good point. He's not the only Brave with a streak.
Remember when we were in Atlanta, Freddie Freeman had a hit streak alive, and his is still alive at 19 games. Not too often do you get two guys in a lineup that have hitting streaks over 15 games.
Mets have a 2-0 lead over the Braves in the second. That's at Citi Field. Outside corner, and it's 3-1. Freeman and Ugler are both 0 for 1, by the way, in that ball game. Ricky looks like he's really careful against Berkman. Kind of pitched around him in the third. He's 3-1 on him here. Berkman busts his bat. Wise comes in and makes the catch. Nicely done. That's a real test, and Nolasco passed it. He got Pujols, he got Holiday, and he gets Berkman. Alfredo Amezaga's grand return to the Marlins tonight, along with everyone here at Fox Sports Florida. Our Subway bottom of the fifth inning, 2-1. Cardinals on top. Chris Carpenter to Bonifacio. His fastball sails high. You've just joined us. So has Alfredo Amezaga. The Marlins acquiring him late last night. He arrived today, and he's in the lineup, following Bonifacio this inning, with Mike Stanton hitting behind Alfredo. 1-0 pitch. There's a bunt by Bonifacio, picked up and safe at first. Pujols tried to dig it. Descalso's throw looked like it was in time. Not sure if it hit the dirt or if Pujols just had it pop out of the glove.
I think it might have just popped out of the glove, and it did look like it was in time. Descalso was really creeping in, and he eyes the bunt right away, and then comes up with a strong throw.
That's going to be an error on Pujols.
It should be, and right now they've said error 5, but it's not. That's an error on Albert Pujols, because that ball did not short hop.
Here's Amezaga. See if he can move Bonifacio, or if Bonifacio can take second. Carpenter a long wait. It's an interesting dynamic now in the lineup. This is the first time in this series that Bonifacio has been at first base, because his one hit was a double.
And by the way, they have changed that, Rich, E3, and rightfully so.
And of course, you've got Amezaga at the plate. Cardinals have been watching the Marlins a lot, because Bonifacio has been running on a lot of first pitches. You see Tony La Russa staring. He wasn't staring at his pitcher or his catcher. He was looking at Joe Espada, the third base coach. Bonifacio running. Cruz's throw is there and out. Boy, Tony Cruz throws out Emilio Bonifacio.
Now the Marlins try and take advantage of that error. Cruz comes up quickly, number one, and then fires a strike to the shortstop for call. Foxmo will show you plenty of time. What a strong throw by Tony Cruz.
Carpenter was very quick to the plate as well.
So the converted infielder has converted nicely behind the plate with that play.
Amezaga checks his swing, and the count 2-2.
That's one thing that helped Carpenter and certainly helped Cruz, was the fact that he was so quick to the plate.
Fastball, ground ball, tricky hop. Descalso stays with it and just throws Amezaga out. It's a nice play by the Cardinal third baseman. Fans, to commemorate the team's history as the Florida Marlins, we want you to help us select the top memories for the team's 19th season. Go to Marlins.com, cast your vote for the top memory then be at Marlins closing day on September 28th, where the winning memory will be revealed. Go to Marlins.com and vote today. Stanton swings and misses at a breaking ball. Carpenter has had Stanton's number tonight, and it's been with the breaking ball. And Tommy, he's changed planes on it on Mike. There's that up and down one, and then there's the side to side one.
Yeah, the up and down, the big curveball, the cutters, the sliders, and then every once in a while a fastball. But he really hasn't given Mike a good fastball to hit. 0-2 tried to. That was that curveball he snapped off to Dwayne Wise when he had him 0-2. Only that he hit him in the back foot.
There's the fastball.
Yeah, it was just a show-me fastball. That's a show-me fastball to set up this breaking ball.
From the show-me state. Here comes the breaking ball. Got him again. 3 strikeouts for Mike Stanton tonight. Bonifacio thrown out at second. The inning went downhill from there. Cookie and Raul, hi guys.
Hi, Richie. How are you?
Yeah,
How are you?
We like to welcome you guys in when the Marlins are in a position they need runs, because you can create something. So you need to create something, Cookie.
Well, no question about that. I think we just needed to get them contact. And I think that in that inning where we had the bases loaded, you know, with Ricky Nolasco coming up to bat after he gave 2 bases on ball, I mean, he should be taking at least one pitch and make him pitch.
As it turned out, he bounced into a double play and the inning was over. Chris Carpenter, meanwhile, has thrown a lot of pitches.
Sure has.
But has hung on to the lead. Lanzador es muy bueno.
Well, that is right. Tiene tremenda recta, good fastball, a good curveball, and a good changeup.
And what do you guys think of getting Alfredo Amezaga back?
That's awesome. I mean, he's a fan favorite. When I told my wife today that Amezaga was back, she was ecstatic. She was super happy. I was a little worried myself when I saw the excitement, but he brings a lot of energy, passion to the field, and something that always benefits any team.
He had a great ovation, you know, when he first stepped up to the first time at bat, and you know, you can tell that everybody likes Alfredo Amezaga. I think he's great for the ball club.
It's been a long road back from 2 microfracture surgeries. Gabby is over, so is Ricky, and nicely done. Guys, have a good show tonight.
All right, guys, let's win this one.
Skip Schumacher retires. Or rather, Nolasco retires Skip Schumacher for the first out here in the 6th. Now you got Tony Cruz and Daniel Descalso. Ricky Nolasco living right now at 84 pitches. Chris Carpenter's at 96. Ricky has scattered 8 hits. And he has repeatedly pitched out of trouble. That 5th inning, a 1-2-3 inning, the most unlikely 1-2-3 inning because it was Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman. That's his only one of the night. So now he's retired 5 in a row. Make it 6 in a row with Schumacher. Here's Cruz. Ground ball, Bonifacio. Tough hop, stays with it. Safe at first. We have seen in this series the infields take some bizarre hops, and that's to be expected with everything this field and this grounds crew has had to go through over the last 3-4 days.
Yeah, and we've seen it both sides. We've seen infielders on the opposition struggle with hops that aren't friendly. And this one right here comes up on Bonifacio. And a tougher, if you're a little more stationary, you can deal with that ball that comes up. But when you're moving the way he was toward the middle, it's a lot tougher play.
It's going to be an error on Bonifacio. And here is Descalso. When you talk to Perry Hill, Marlin infield instructor and a connoisseur of infields around Major League Baseball, he'll tell you the most important thing about the dirt on any infield is that the ball stays down and it stays true. And Hill, much like we did, was quick to point out that the grounds crew here was given an impossible task. A Dolphins scrimmage followed by a soccer match with grass on the skin part of the infield. And in less than 24 hours, they had to pull up the grass and reconstruct the infield. And so there's seams everywhere on the infield grass, on the ridge of the outfield grass.
You can see seams right around here. And that's just in the home plate area. Those are all over the field as well, where they've had to patch things up. A good example right there.
As well, trying to reconstruct the dirt portion of the infield is not easy in less than 24 hours. Runner goes. Descalso hits it out towards second. Amezaga boots it. And it rolls into center field. Alfredo may have taken his eye off it with the runner dashing in front of him. So 2 infield errors, one by Bonifacio, one by Amezaga.
He may have gotten himself caught flat-footed a little bit. Let's see what the ball does. It comes right up on him. So we just talked about when you have that nice smooth infield, the ball's going to stay true. That one was not true. It came up on him. And think about this. Alfredo just got here. He's remembering a different infield than when he was here before. This is a different infield, at least for this series, than when he was last here.
Carpenter with 1 out shows bunt. Remember, he lined one into center field for a hit. Takes a breaking ball for a strike. So both balls came up on the middle infielders, but not glaring enough for base hits. Both are errors.
And you have an inning that would have been another 1-2-3 inning if both of those ground balls are fielded.
Cishek up for the second time, done for the first. Top of the 6th, 2-1. John Buck taking the brunt of that one. And he's in a great deal of pain.
The catcher, any catcher, is so exposed when a hitter's bunting because his initial move is to come out of that crouch to maybe have to field a bunt just in front of the plate. So he's more exposed there than any other pitch or any other situation.
And Buck, who is as strong and sturdy as they come in the big leagues, is in a tremendous amount of pain.
See how he's coming out of that crouch just in case that bunt goes fair. No way to explain how that feels, how badly that feels.
Buck right now, it's hard because it's not something you can just walk off.
No, and it's also not something that's usually going to keep you out of the game, get you out of the game. So it's just a matter of time. Carpenter knows the drill, and Buck knows the drill. And he's certainly going to stay in the game. But you get lightheaded, you get nauseous.
Gabby Sanchez has spent a little time behind the plate.
And then after everybody sees that you're okay, then the jokes come out. But in this case, it's taken a while because he took a direct hit.
Dave Duncan knows it. Duncan, a
Former catcher.
One of the, I think he's the only catcher who is a pitching coach in the big leagues. And he may be the best pitching coach in baseball history. And ironically, he wasn't a pitcher. Duncan with Oakland and Cleveland. Carpenter is bunting again. I'll bet Buck is thrilled with that.
And it's different, you know, in another position. I don't want to say you can relax. You never can when you're on the field. But behind the plate, you're involved in everything. All kinds of things could happen here with a couple of base runners on.
That's a foul ball, and that's a strikeout.
One thing Carpenter's done better tonight is swing the bat than bunt.
Boy, you just feel for Buck, who continues to struggle behind the plate, but he didn't want to leave the game.
Well, he knows the state of the bench for Jack McKeon. Interesting, Ricky has 3 strikeouts, 2 are Carpenter trying to bunt.
For call now, runners first and second. A pair of errors by the Marlins middle infield has extended this inning for Nolasco. One 0 pitch. It's 2-0 now. Remember, for call opened the ball game with a liner to right. Everyone in the park thought they saw Mike Stanton make a terrific sliding catch. One's fouled off. Here's a look at the play. Stanton coming in clearly makes the catch, but the first base umpire, Vic Carapazza, watch him.
And he has...
Boy, how does he miss that?
He has the best look of all the umpires, and he missed it.
He called that a single.
He's got the best angle and had the best look.
And it turned out to be a big call because Pujols homered 2 hitters later, and it was a 2-run homer. Ground ball, Amezaga. This time the ball stays down in time. So Ricky pitches around the 2 errors. Bottom of the 6th, 2-1. A fighter in the corner right now after 6 long, hard rounds. He has hung in there. It's a 2-1 game. We check in with Frank Fort. Frank?
Thank you, Rich. Want to remind you about an upcoming event this week. Logan Morrison hosting Baseball. It's Thursday. It's an off day for the Marlins. August 11th at Strike Miami, second floor of the Dolphin Mall. Proceeds will go to benefit the American Lung Association. Of course, Logan's father, Tom, passing away in the offseason from lung cancer. This is the second event he's held to raise money for that. He is going to bowl, and he says he's not very good, although he promises to rock some really cool bowling shoes. So we're looking forward to seeing that. I asked him which of his teammates, if we're going to handicap this baseball event, might have the edge. He said, well, I've seen Donnie Murphy bowl, and he's a 200 bowler. But he also said Randy Choate has his own custom bowling ball and shoes, so that makes him a little bit suspicious that Randy Choate might be the guy to beat in baseball. By the way, plenty of openings still available for the baseball tournament, and you can come as either a participant and bowl, or there are also tickets for spectators, again, all to raise money for the American Lung Association. That's this coming Thursday at Strike Miami, hosted by Lomo. Guys?
Thank you, Frank. 1-1. Chris Carpenter into the 6th. Morrison pops it up. Descalso over, and he's out of room. It's about 3 rows in. Carpenter had not walked a batter until the 4th. When he walked a pair, the Marlins got their run on a hit batter on an 0-2 pitch. A back foot breaking ball was exactly that. It hit Dwayne Wise in the back foot, and that scored the run.
You would expect, Rich, unless Carpenter has a really low pitch inning, that this could be his last inning. One more pitch, he'll be at 100.
Well, the Cardinal bullpen has been no picnic for the Marlins in this series. That one's over the mound. Schumacher around it. Just gets Morrison. Momo almost beat it out. Does it just me, or has Schumacher had about 5 or 6 of those balls tonight?
He has, and he's made every play. He's had a nice game defensively. You keep waiting for one of those bad hops the other way. And so far, that was played well by Schumacher. I remember that spring that he was working at second base. There were some people around the Cardinals that weren't sure if he was going to be able to make that transition. And he's made a nice one.
Gabby takes inside. Sanchez had a terrific at bat in the fourth. What was it, a 12-pitch walk in that fourth inning? 11-pitch walk. It's 1-1 here.
Oh, Rich, both Dan Uggla and Freddie Freeman have extended their hitting streaks.
And Atlanta has taken a 5-2 lead in New York against the Mets.
Uggla to 27 and Freeman to 20.
That's in the third inning. And of course, the Braves are headed here Monday through Wednesday.
That'd be an interesting trivia question right there. Have there ever been 2 teammates with 20 game streaks
at the same
time?
Gabby breaks his bat, and it's 2-2. Elsewhere around the National League, boy, the Pirates, it just seems like every night are getting pounded. San Diego has an 11-1 lead in Pittsburgh in the 7th.
We'll also see the Michael Bourne Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, that's added a different dynamic to that team. With Bourne in center and in the leadoff spot. Carpenter down to get it, and then he makes a great play and gets Gabby. So 2 outs here in the 6th. Greg Dobbs comes up. Sundays on Fox Sports Florida. Tom Brokaw is with you for Boys in the Hall, the personal stories of some of baseball's greatest legends. Juan Marichal tomorrow. Sundays presented by Subway Restaurants, where winners eat. Check your local listings for time. Dobbs a line drive. Schumacher spears it, and there's your quick pitch inning for Chris Carpenter. We'll see if he comes back out for the 7th. That's where we're headed. Cardinals have 8 hits. The Marlins have just 4. Patterson pops a bunt up, and that's going to be an easy hit. So that's hit number 9. Don't know that that had enough English to get towards the line.
But I think you have to let it try to go foul. And it may have. It may not have. But either way, it's going to be a base hit because no third baseman's going to make that play.
You got Patterson with some speed at first. And here's that trio again for Nolasco. Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman. Ever since the Pujols 2-run homer, the Cardinals have had 10 base runners since that first inning. And Nolasco has kept it at 2 runs. Marlins got their run in the bottom of the 4th. Jose Oquendo looks smarter and smarter with every swing, doesn't he?
I tell you, Albert Pujols, as Oquendo might take a step or 2 back now, you look at the things that he's put together over his first 11 years now. 11 straight years of 25 or more home runs. Only 12 major leaguers have done that. He had 2,010 hits. 434 home runs.
JM Lexus presents Leaders of the Game every night. Pujols shows up on a lot of those lists. He's brought the Cardinals along with him on this one. Runs scored. JM Lexus, price made us #1. Click jmlexus.com to find out how. If his career were to end tomorrow, he may get into Cooperstown on the numbers he's put up already.
Yeah.
Kind of that Sandy Koufax-like career where you burn bright for a span of 7-10 years.
Yeah, Koufax was about 6.
Yeah.
But they were so incredible. It was hard to keep him out.
Well, he's a 3-time MVP. He's won 2 Gold Gloves. Tough play for Dobbs, and it's off of his glove. Well, the Marlin infielders have not helped Nolasco out one bit tonight.
Well, that's a tough play because it was hit sharply to the backhand, and because of that, it's a base hit.
So here you have Nolasco, who now has given up 10 hits, but still has stayed in the ring, so to speak. And the Cardinals have not scored since that first inning. But here comes Holiday. Berkman's on deck. Runners first and second.
And it's at this point now Ricky knows he can't make a mistake pitch, because either of these 2 guys know how to capitalize on a pitch that's a mistake. And it's not easy given the fact that he's over 100 pitches now. They've been stressful innings, and it's a hot, humid night.
Foul back. This might be the last hitter he faces. You've got the switch hitting Berkman on deck, and if you had to pick a side, you'd probably want Berkman from the right side, and that's why Dunn is up in the pen.
Over his career, probably a better hitter from the left side. Number 2, if you flip him over to the right side, you have a little better chance for double play.
Holiday a double in 3 at-bats. Change up, good pitch. Wise under it. Tagging is Patterson. Wise gets a running start, and Patterson's going nowhere. That's a big out for Nolasco.
As an example, this year Berkman hitting .266 against lefties. Over the last 3 years for Lance Berkman, just a .237 average against left-handed pitching.
Here comes St. Clair, and Randy on his way out, which means Jack is not going to, unless St. Clair makes the move. Nolasco is not a guy that likes to give up the ball in these spots. In fact, he, in his career, has kind of relished the fact that he's able to get deep in games.
And that's one of the things you've always liked about Ricky Nolasco. When he takes the ball, he likes to get into the 8th and 9th inning.
Waiting for him is Berkman. Now remember, Berkman doubled in the first. Ricky walked him in the third. These are the career numbers against Nolasco. Berkman 5 for 10 in this series, with 2 doubles and a triple. Breaking ball just missed. Those are the career left-right numbers.
And I think because of some knee issues, batting right-handed tailed off a little bit for him.
Just 4 of his home runs from the right side this year, 24 from the left side. One-0. Good pitch. Right on the inside corner. It's 1-1. Ricky has pitched better than his record. He's 8-7. The ERA inflated by a few starts where he's given up a ton of runs. His last home start, one of those. Breaking ball scorched. Foul. It's 1-2. But you take that San Diego start out of his last 7 starts, and in the 6 remaining starts, he's given up a total of 5 runs. And that doesn't include tonight, but tonight he's battled through 6 1/3 and given up just the 2. Trying to get Lance Berkman, the home run leader in the National League. Patterson at second, Pujols at first. 1-2 coming.
One of the reasons, Rich, it's still a 2-1 game. The Cardinals tonight, to this point, are 1 for 11 with runners in scoring position. They've left 8 men on base.
Two-two. Ooh, just got a piece of the breaking ball. That's, you know, that's the script that Ricky followed his last time out. 6 2/3, 12 hits, a run, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. That was against Tommy Hanson on Sunday in Atlanta. Marlins won that ball game, then went to New York and won a couple there. Still 2-2 to Berkman. Tried the changeup and he missed inside. Does Tony La Russa start the runners?
I think he does. We talked about the type of hitter Berkman is. A lot of power hitters you might not, but he has the ability to put the bat on the ball. And the lead runner's a Swiftie in Patterson, and then you have Pujols behind him.
Velasco wants to talk with Buck. Those two have been side by side for all but one of La Russa's 33 years. Dave Duncan's 32nd year. A major league record as a pitching coach. All right, here we go. Runners on the move. Drive to right. Stanton is over there, and he makes the catch. Runners return. Nolasco gets a big out.
Made a good pitch. You can see that Berkman was out front, hit it off the end of the bat. So another good pitch by Ricky. Made some outstanding pitches during that at bat to a tough switch hitter, Lance Berkman.
Ricky Nolasco is at 110 pitches now, with 2 outs in the top of the 7th. Schumacher an infield single. He's lined into a double play and bounced to first. Missed away with a changeup. 1-0. University of California, Santa Barbara, where Schumacher played. Another changeup. Amezaga to his right, knocks it down, throws the first, got him. Ricky Nolasco pitches out of trouble once again. With some help from Alfredo Amezaga. What an effort from Nolasco tonight. First and second, nobody out, no problem for Nolasco.
The Marlins get a run.
John Buck takes a breaking ball from Carpenter. So both these pitchers have gone deep in the game. Carpenter starting the bottom of the 7th at 107 pitches. The Cardinal bullpen is busy in case Carpenter shows signs of strain. Facing the bottom third of the Marlins order. And he's out in front, 0-2. He worked quickly in the 6th, got a 1-2-3 inning. Octavio Dotel. 0-2. And down goes Buck. Boy, Carpenter has sharpened up. He's retired 6 in a row now. Here comes Wise. Remember, the Cardinal bullpen, that hard-throwing Cardinal bullpen, has been tough on the Marlins in this series.
The one guy that struggled, though, was Octavio Dotel. First game of the series, came in, faced 3 hitters, and they all reached base. A couple of singles and a walk.
Another ground ball to the right of Schumacher. Carpenter has given him a steady diet of balls out there. And just like that, there are 2 outs. Nolasco's spot. Here comes Brian Peterson.
Numbers overall for Brian Peterson. We talked about it earlier off the bench as a pinch hitter, 4 for 11.
0 for 2 last night. So Nolasco's night is done. Mojica in the bullpen now. Ricky has put together 2 starts of great perseverance.
They're the kind of starts, Rich, when you look back, and you mentioned earlier his career record in the minor leagues coming up with the Cubs. They're the kind of starts that show you why he's always been a winner.
Now you put the start in Atlanta together with this one. Peterson takes a strike. 13 2/3 innings combined. 22 hits. But just 3 runs.
There's a cutter from Carpenter in on the hands, under the hands of Peterson.
Nolasco struck out 3 tonight, so he's at 751. He is 6 behind Dontrelle Willis for the all-time Marlins lead. 2-2 coming. Off the end of the bat, Peterson trying to beat it out, and he will. Finally, the Marlins get a bounce to go their way on a good pitch by Carpenter.
Yeah, he dropped that big curveball. He's thrown some really good curveballs in this inning. And off the end of the bat, but no chance for call with the speed of Brian Peterson. So now his 5th pinch hit of the year. And he gets up that line quickly.
Tony La Russa is on his way to the mound. And he has seen enough from Chris Carpenter, who, like Nolasco, doesn't like to give up the ball. Octavio Dotel coming out of the bullpen. Maroney called to the pen.
When you need a car, truck or van, who you gonna call? Maroney!
Your fashion selections.
We'll be happy to do that.
Members of the crack staff will be there. Our producer John Stolzer will be a spokesmodel. Here's Bonifacio, and here is Dotel with Peterson at first. And that one almost goes to the screen. As Tommy pointed out, Dotel's appearance in Game 1 of the series was not a clean one. He gave up a single to Cameron, he walked John Buck, and a single to Dwayne Wise. Bonifacio takes a strike. You saw that sign of the Roadrunner with Bonifacio. The problem has been for Bonifacio, he's not been able to get on base much in this series. He doubled in his first at bat of the series, and since then has gone 0 for 13.
And you talk about that, Rich. It's something a manager notices. Certainly Jack McKeon does. In this case, this would be a situation where you probably would like to give Bonifacio a day off, but he can't because of the situation of the roster.
Hanley Ramirez not available. Omar Infante on the disabled list. Now the 1-2 coming from Dotel. 2-2. Got good speed at first with 2 outs. You can see pitchers working Bonifacio, trying to get him to chase balls up in the zone. And that, of course, was one of his Achilles heels, so to speak, in the first couple of years in the Marlins organization. That ball up under his hands, that pitch up and out.
And the amazing thing, when you get a little tired, you try to pull the trigger faster, so you might chase that pitch.
Pitch is down low. Nice job by Bonifacio to get deep in this count, and that allows Peterson a head start. Pujols will come off the bag. So a ball in the gap here to tie the game. Now Meziga's on deck. That one's back in the seats. Marlins entered this series right at 500. They were 55 and 55. Despite losing the first 2 games of this series, they are still 23 and 17 under that man, Jack McKeon. Peterson on the move again. Another 3-2 to Bonifacio, and he walked him. So first and second. Tony La Russa looking at his lineup card. There's nobody throwing in the Cardinal pen. Alfredo Amezaga is 1 for 3. Last night he was playing in AAA in Colorado Springs, having a very good year there. Got pulled out of the ball game in the 7th inning and told he'd been traded, and his question was, traded to whom? And when they told him the Marlins, his eyes lit up, and he hasn't stopped smiling since. Takes a fastball high. It's 1-0.
And what a nice return it would be if he were to come up with a big hit here. Yeah, Mezga was hitting 305 in 67 games in AAA.
His on-base percentage was 385.
One thing about Bonifacio and Mezga, those two guys at the top of the order, when they're both on the top of their game, they're going to take pitches, they're going to make some pitchers work.
One. That's, oh man, he called it a strike. Wow. A running fastball. Let's take a look. Maybe I was fooled just by where it was caught.
Boy, a lot of times when that catcher sets up inside on a pitch that's borderline and up a little bit, you don't get that call. And it looked worse than it was because of the way Cruz reached for it.
It was out on Fox Tracks. Here's the 1-2. That one was out. It wasn't that much further away than the other one. You can see where they've worked him. They have yet to come inside on a Mezga.
Well, it's the old pitch him away, play him away. Pitch him out there and you shade him a little bit into left field.
Well, it counts 2-2. He's thrown nothing but fastballs to Alfredo. Counts full now, 3-2.
Boy, and now again with the runners moving, great speed on the bases. With Peterson at second and Bonifacio at first.
Full count to Alfredo Amezaga. Brian Peterson at second. Emilio Bonifacio at first. Dotel. Got him. Struck him out. And the Marlins leave two more. Still 2-1 St. Louis. Bottom of the seventh with a big ending for the Cardinals. Octavio Dotel striking out Alfredo Amezaga with runners at first and second. And the Marlins have had opportunities in this series. They let one get by there. Brian Peterson stays in the game. He's in the 9 spot. That means Mujica is in Dwayne Wise's spot, 8th in the order.
Yeah, we talked about those opportunities, Rich, on Marlins Live. The chances, the first 2 games of the series, just in search of that big hit with men on base, and just haven't been able to get it tonight.
Tony Cruz leads it off for the Cardinals. Mujica's first pitch is outside. Ricky Nolasco, 7 innings, 10 hits, 2 runs, 112 pitches. But he stands to lose this game if the Marlins can't tie it up or take the lead. Chris Carpenter in line to win this ball game, 6 2/3, with some help from Octavio Dotel to finish off the 7th. Cruz shoots it into the seats.
Jason Mott, the hard thrower, getting ready. You know, I saw Mujica fall behind 2-0, which you haven't seen much this year. Edward Mujica in his 54 2/3 innings, just 6 walks. So he is definitely a strike thrower. That's a reputation he brought over with him from San Diego.
You know, I thought I saw Jason Mott in the stands. That guy looks like he belongs in the Cardinal bullpen. He has the same.
Or maybe Lance Lynn. I mean, they all have
the same look. Mujica strikes out. Tony Cruz. Daniel Descalso.
Two up, two down.
Descalso takes down low. Looped a double in the second. Lined a single in the fourth and reached on an error in the sixth. One and one. Cardinals with a 2-1 lead here. As we told you, St. Louis 3 back of Milwaukee at start of play. The Brewers have a 6-4 lead, and that's in the 9th now in Houston. Two and two.
It's always a score the Cardinals keep their eye on. Would you see where Craig Counsell, the Brewers, broken 0 for 45 with a base hit last night? Hard to imagine that any hitter, and even a guy like Craig Counsell, puts a bat on the ball, you know he's going to spray it around all over, was 0 for 45.
That hasn't happened in a long time.
It was the longest, from what I read, the longest 0 for, other than a pitcher, in a season since 1900.
Descalso fouls that pitch back.
I guarantee this. The guys gave him the ball, you know, signed it for him.
Well, and Counsell doesn't play regularly, so
no, he's in and out.
That's, I mean,
it's taken a while.
Yeah. the 45 ABs for a guy that doesn't play all the time can take forever. Descalso's got another hit. So a 3-hit night for the rookie third baseman.
It's been a rough night for Bonifacio in the infield. He's had some bad hops. This is going to take a really good play to make, but a little tentative because all of a sudden you see some of those hops and you're not sure how to go after them. But it's a base hit for Descalso.
This is the pitcher spot. And John Jay, the former Hurricane All-American, is going to get the pinch hit appearance. Hika misses in. 1-0. Padres just keep piling on the Pirates. 13-2 in the 9th in Pittsburgh. Kyle Blanks is back playing. He hit his second home run.
The big right-handed hitter.
I think he was out with Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, 6'6", about 270.
Yeah, we'll see him in San Diego. Gives that team at least some power presence. The Braves have blown a 5-2 lead. The Mets have come back to take a 7-5 lead in the bottom of the 5th in New York. Justin Turner has hit 2 homers. Jason Bay has homered, and Josh Tolley even homered. Just the second for Tolley. Ty Wigington has hit his 14th homer, and Colorado leads Washington 9-3. Jay dumps that into right center field. Peterson picks it up, and with 1 out now, St. Louis has runners at the corners.
Boy,
Rafael Furcal coming up.
Yeah, and doing it, Rich, with an infield base hit, a little chopper, and then a ball not hit hard by John Jay. gets jammed and finds that spot in center field. So a couple of balls not hit hard, and all of a sudden the Cardinals are in business to get another run.
Well, Mujica has to pull a Ricky Nolasco here and get out of this. That's what Nolasco did best tonight. Some of the trouble Ricky got himself into, some of the trouble his teammates got him into.
They had the 1 inning and back-to-back errors, the error by Bonifacio and then the error by Amezaga. But he worked out of that. If you think about it, with Nolasco tonight, with the exception of that 5th inning, and even that inning I have to say was stressful because he had to face Pujols, Holiday, and Berkman. But just about every inning was a stressful inning with men on base.
Ricky went 112 pitches.
He was outstanding tonight.
Well, Tony La Russa's got a fast man at the plate in Rafael Furcal.
You always have to file the squeeze play in the back of your mind.
Do you play back for 2 against Furcal? Looks like that's what the Marlins are going to do.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a tough guy to double up. They may move in as the pitch is delivered.
They hold their ground, and he hits one to Amezaga. Bad feed. Bonifacio turns it anyway.
I guess you play back for the double play.
Emilio had to pick it off his shoe tops and avoid John Jay. And he did it nicely. Amezaga and Emilio Bonifacio.
What an adjustment by Bonifacio as he gets the low feed. He adjusts to pick it and then makes the throw as he's getting out of the way of the runner, John Jay. Jay got down on Bonifacio in a hurry. He was able to get that throw off after getting a low feed. That's great. Look at Mujica. He loved it.
Now, Mike Stanton climbs in the box. Hard-throwing Jason Mott delivers a breaking ball, and it's outside. Of course, Mott's breaking ball is 91 miles an hour. The high heat comes in at 97.
This is one of those matchups you would love to see Mike Stanton catch up to one of these 97-mile-an-hour fastballs and see how far he can hit it.
2-0 to Stanton, who was glad to see Chris Carpenter gone. He struck out 3 times against Carpenter. Mott hasn't thrown a strike yet.
And it was Mike Stanton who made the last out last night against the hard-throwing Lance Lynn, who got him on a fastball.
.30. Knee-high strike. Zepchinski is up. You got Morrison and then Gabby Sanchez. 3-1. He walked him. So what does Tony La Russa do? Does he go get the lefty to face Morrison?
Well, there's a reason he has him up. And he's going to do that. He'll make a double switch, maybe, or he's going to.
There's a trainer going out to talk to Mott.
How soon was Zepchinski up?
Well,
I mean, this would be a great ploy. He's gone out there to see if he's okay. That's what La Russa was pointing to. He wanted to make sure the umpires knew that was a visit to see if Mott was okay.
And so you look further down the order and you see Greg Dobbs a couple of hits away. Mott slipped on that last delivery. Here's the last pitch. And he kind of stumbled off the mound. So it's Mott against Morrison with Stanton at first. Lomo squares the bunt, tries the bunt, and it's 0-1.
I'm a little surprised. I got the left-handed bat up there against the right-handed hard thrower. Is going to stay with fastballs. I want to see Lomo swing.
He certainly didn't look comfortable trying to bunt on the first pitch. And he doesn't here. He hits a roller towards second for Call the turn. He's out. Wow, he called him out. Morrison can't believe it. Vic Carapazza called him out. Morrison thought he beat it. Here comes McKeon. It was Carapazza who blew a call in the first inning that cost the Marlins a run in a 2-1 game. So McKeon is not going to be in a good mood when he arrives out there now. Here's a look. He beat it. It's bang bang.
It's bang bang, and it's 0 for 2 for Carapazza. I mean, these are crucial calls too, because you're talking about a close game, a 2-1 game.
Morrison is erased. Stanton is erased. And it's Mott against Gabby Sanchez.
Boy, that just gives the Cardinals new life after that.
That's a strike. Gabby almost comes out of his shoes. Added frustration for the Marlins, who certainly have been frustrated by the Cardinal bullpen. St. Louis bullpen has been outstanding in this series. Last night, Mitchell Boggs, Jason Mott, Lance Lynn. Just about everybody pitched on Thursday night. Off the glove of Mott. And Gabby is safe. Pujols came off the bag. And it's going to be a base hit. It was almost as if Pujols felt Gabby was going to be safe anyways.
And I'm not so sure he was.
No, I think if Pujols stays on the bag, he's out.
You could see a little bit of a reaction to that by Schumacher, who makes a great play, adjusting, changing directions, barehanding. And I think he would have had to come off the bag. I don't think he can stay on the bag and make that catch.
Yeah, you're right. I think
he probably felt, okay, you got to make a decision. You don't want to let the ball get by and let the runner get to scoring position.
Yeah, because if the ball does get by him, it's in the dugout.
So he made that quick decision, and I don't think he could have stayed on anyway.
I think you're right. Now we know Zepchinski was up for Dobbs. Lefty-lefty matchup.
When you need a car, truck or van, who you gonna call? Rudy.
St. Louis has a 1-run lead here in the bottom of the 8th. Second appearance in the series by Zepchinski, and in the first one he matched up against Greg Dobbs.
Same matchup, and he tried to flip a slider up there. Greg Dobbs had a beautiful swing and lined it into left field. Look at how deep the outfield is playing. They're trying to cut anything off, any gapper. They want to make sure Gabby Sanchez doesn't score from first.
First pitch is down low to Dobbs. It's 1-0. Dobbs tonight is lined out, singled, and struck out. The next hitter is John Buck, and remember, the pitcher occupies the 8th spot behind Buck. 2 outs in the 8th. Zepchinski. right back to the mound, and Zepchinski flips over to first, and the Cardinals escape the 8th. Frustrating inning for the Marlins. Frustrating night for the Fish. Of the Florida Marlins. The Cardinals have won the first 2 games of this 4-game set, and a tight one here. Leo Nunez out of the bullpen. Nunez takes over for Edward Mojica.
It's been a few days for Leo Nunez, so Jack wants to get him in this game just to preserve the score at 2-1. Last time Leo pitched was in New York on the 2nd of this month.
Corey Patterson, then he's into Pujols and Holiday in the 9th. 12 hits for the 2 runs of St. Louis. A run on 6 hits for the Marlins. Patterson had a bunt single his last time up. Patterson has a brother in the big leagues, Eric Patterson.
Both out of the hotbed area up in Atlanta, East Cobb. Good part of this year for Patterson, who's in Toronto with the Blue Jays. 89 games. Hit .252 with 6 home runs.
Patterson, part of that 8-player deal between St. Louis, the White Sox, and the Blue Jays. Sharp ground ball of Meziga on his knees. Nice play. Alfredo Meziga stuck the landing.
I tell you, he has not had many easy plays at second base tonight. Sticks the landing. You got all kinds of seams and stuff out there. Is able to spin around and make the play.
Man, you just hold your breath right now.
Sticks the landing on those surgically repaired knees.
Yeah. This is a fun matchup to watch. You got Nunez against Pujols now. Pujols 2 more hits in this one. 6 hits already in the series. And of course his home run was a big one. It came in the first. Remember the catch by Stan that was ruled a hit by Vic Carapazza. It was a painful call because Pujols then knocked one in the seats. And that made it a 2-run homer, and that is the difference in the ball game. One and 2. Got him. Fastball, 97. So down goes Pujols, and up comes Matt Holliday with 2 outs in the top of the 9th.
Leo wanted to show the Cardinals that the Marlins have some arms in the bullpen that can get to 97. Good fastball. Now he's got one more tough guy to deal with.
So here is Matt Holliday. As Jeff Conine has said a couple of times on Marlins Live, as you see Fernando Salas, the closer who got the night off last night. Lance Lynn barely shut the door.
Who doesn't throw 96 or 97?
Jeff Conine quoting Lance Berkman saying the strongest man he's ever played with is Matt Holliday. And that's saying something because Berkman played with Jeff Bagwell.
Played with Bagwell, played with El Caballo.
You heard Holliday say that's inside, and he's right. It was. Pitch number 2.
El Caballo still remains an Astro.
Well, with that contract, I think he's going to be an Astro unless they eat that contract, which runs through next year. Two one. Ground ball. Amezaga dives, can't get it into right field. And then Holiday, his second hit of the game. Now here comes Berkman.
Well, on the ground, Holiday pulls the ball a little bit, so Amezaga is shading just a little towards second. And because of the velocity of the pitch, Holiday a little late on it. Got the ground ball past Amezaga.
El Caballo is owed $18.5 million next year for a franchise that's trying desperately to cut payroll.
That's a tough contract to eat, too. And also a tough contract to trade.
That one is clubbed to right, hit deep, and off the wall. Stanton plays it. Holiday around third. They're going to send him. The throw goes to second. They'll tag him before the run scores.
What a play!
No run. Bonifacio tags out Berkman on a laser beam throw by Mike Stanton. Wow. Big mistake by Lance Berkman. And a great play by Emilio Bonifacio.
A couple of things to break down on this as Berkman rounds the bag. Here comes the throw by Mike Stanton, an absolute bullet. Bonifacio waits right there. The tag applied way before Holiday's able to score. And I guess the question, and this is what Berkman might have been thinking, why was Stanton throwing to second? You would have thought that Mike plays that ball off the wall, comes toward the plate because you know Holiday's rounding third. But it turned out to be a bonus and a great play, and it also is Mike's 9th assist. That ties him with Hunter Pence for the National League lead for right fielders.
Salas is in for the 9th. Buck leads off. Ball one is outside. Mike Cameron is on deck. Then you got Brian Peterson. Buck took a swing at it, fouls it back. Salas actually got 4 outs to shut the door and pick up his 20th save on Thursday night in the 7-4 win.
And we had the note that his previous 3 appearances, he'd thrown a lot of pitches, and that's why he had the night off last night.
Lance Lynn got his first professional save. Buck off the end of the bat, and Patterson is over in there, and he makes the catch. Salas has 1 out. Here comes Cameron. Mike still with a sore left wrist, and it affected his fingers when he was swinging the bat yesterday. The funny thing was he got 2 hits after he jammed that hand, and he was holding on with his left hand with only 2 fingers. Here's the sequence last night. You can see the awkward landing and the glove bend back, the wrist bend back.
And then, amazingly enough, he was able to get the batting glove on and get himself a base hit.
Yeah, the process of getting the batting glove on looked more painful than the swing.
Mm-hmm.
So Cameron against Salas. And Cameron turns around and barks at Jeff Nelson. He said it was down, and it was down.
He missed a few the last inning or so. Remember, he had Holiday barking at him.
One and one. It's 2-1. Cameron's put together a nice 7 to 10 days of swings. He doesn't have a lot to show for it, just a handful of base hits, but he sprayed line drives all over Atlanta, New York, Washington, and even here in this series. 3-1.
Salas with his fastball and breaking ball. He has a good changeup. Peterson, a left-handed hitter, he likes to use it to lefties.
Marlins just trying to get a base runner.
And if they get Cameron on, he has good speed.
Cameron knew he'd get a fastball, and he was on that pitch. He just fouled it straight back. So it's 3-2. 23,922. Three-two coming. That's in, and Cameron has drawn a walk.
I think ever since Mike Cameron has arrived, you and I have been impressed at his patience, his eye, his ability to draw some walks. Mike Cameron with 12 walks and 14 strikeouts since he's been a Marlin.
Brian Peterson now. You've got Cameron at first. Remember, Tony Cruz threw a dart and threw out Bonifacio back in the 5th. Cameron has a stolen base with the Marlins. Peterson takes ball 1. A squibber off the end of the bat for a pinch hit is only AB tonight. Remember Jack McKeon, his reasoning behind starting Dwayne Wise and having Brian Peterson on the bench. His bench is thin, and Jack said when you don't have a lot of options, you have to make your pinch hits or your pinch hitting appearances count. He felt Peterson would be a better pinch hitter and a better bat late in the game if he left him in the game, and here he is in his second at bat, and he's 1 for 1. So it's kind of worked the way Jack had thought it would.
Interesting thought process, the way he kind of put that all upstairs, all that experience. I mean, you talk about a guy, the only manager who's ever won 1,000 games in the minor leagues and over 1,000 in the major leagues.
Well, he doesn't have a lot of options on the bench with Hanley out.
I talked to Jack the other day, too, and in the minor leagues years ago when he was managing down there, you didn't have 25-man rosters, so you had to make do with 21, 22 guys, and a lot of times you'd have pitchers moving into the outfield for a couple of hitters.
Remember how he counseled Brian Peterson about taking pitches, and this might be one of those spots with the count 2-0. A strike. That was low as well. Brett Hayes, Wes Helms. The other two options on the bench. You got Bonifacio on deck. Then a Meziga. 2-1. Peterson pops it up. Shallow right. Out goes Schumacher. And he makes the catch. So the Marlins are down to their last out.
Time he got the off-speed pitch. You can see he was out front a little bit.
Bonifacio walked his last time up. He's 0 for 3 tonight and 1 for 13 in the series. Bonifacio takes in, and it's 1-0.
Bonifacio thinking right now, just get on base. As they say, keep the line moving. Get Amezaga to the plate. Be patient. Make Salas work.
Alfredo Amezaga looking out at one of his countrymen on the mound, Fernando Salas.
Would not be surprised if somewhere in the winter in Mexico they were either teammates or they faced off against each other.
Two-one. And it's 2-2. Jack McKeon doesn't like what he sees from Emilio Bonifacio. Salas with the count 2-2. He got him, struck him out, and the Cardinals have taken the first 3 games of this series. Vic Carapazza blew a call to start the game on the catch by Stanton. It didn't seem like a big thing then, but when Albert Pujols homered one batter later, it became a 2-run homer, and it's the difference in the game tonight. The Cardinals win it by a score of 2-1. For Pujols, our SunTrust performer of the game. Two-1 the final. The Cardinals win it. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Marooney, South Florida. When you need a car, truck, or van, who are you going to call? 1-877-MAROONEY. And by Subway, eat fresh.